Hello everyone, my name is Deyanira Flores and I'm going to be sharing my discovery journal with you guys. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Just going to try to make this a little bit big. Okay. So throughout the semester I tried to complete like one or two entries a week as much as I could. And I enjoyed making them because it gave me time to research things and read things that were interesting to me. For example, my very first entry here, it was from a YouTube video from Lang Focus. It was called Swedish Slang is Insane. Let me see if I can preview this. Okay, this is the first entry, and I've always liked learning about slang in different places around the world. I think it's interesting to see how many variation there is to vocabulary and how different phrases can have many meanings. So that's why I decided to do this for my first entry. So a connection I found to our class textbook was that some of the words were blends, which in our class textbook it mentions that it's when you combine two words and kind of keep the same meaning, but it's a new word. For example, the an example from the textbook was smog, which was smoke and fog combined. And it just affected my view on linguistics because it made me realize that although languages may sound very different, they can be more similar than one thinks. So in my journal entry, I talked about the some of the slangs and abbreviations, and then I included a picture of the Swedish flag. And then here I concluded my thoughts. I liked to include this picture because it was like different ways to say hello, or different like slang words of saying hello, like hi, hiya, heya, things like that. Okay. And another one of my most favorite entries was the fifth one. I did this one on a podcast from the History of English podcast, and this one was called As the Saying Goes. And in this video and podcast, they talked about different like popular sayings and proverbs, and they kind of defined it for people. Um, for example, here, the grass is greener on the other side, leave no stone unturned. Um, and I just thought this was very significant to me because I plan to become an English teacher. So I've always knew that it was important to like provide background information for students when they read a text, just because learning about where an author is from, what language they speak, what culture are they from, sometimes they integrate those things into their writing. So if you provide students with background information on it, it can help them understand the text a little bit better or what's going on there in the writing. So that's why I liked this entry because it talks about the background of the history of English and different slangs and proverbs, as I mentioned. Um, so I liked specifically learning about the book of Proverbs, um, mostly because it included examples and words of English words that were from Latin origins. The first recording, for example, of the word straightened was in the book, and it's based off the word straight. Here included a picture of Henry VIII, just because he had an interesting role in the history of English. And then where was it? Okay, right here. It was straightened. Um, and I can see myself using like the history or the background information in as a teacher because for example, sometimes for English language learners, the background information can be pretty helpful to help them enhance their learning. So this is just the way I would use it in my class and a benefit I got from it. And my ninth entry, I thought it was very similar to the language presentation, um, because for this one, I was learning about the earliest writings in Mesoamerica. So I had to investigate the history and the background and the origins. And I thought that was, just similar to what we had done for the project. Um, so for this entry, as you can see here, this was the first piece of writing they found from Mesoamerica. And the writing at this point was like hieroglyphics, like pictures. Um, and yeah, I was just learning about the different writing systems, where the book was found. Well, this is the stone, sorry. Um, and there was actually people digging in a construction site, and they knew that this was like a very valuable area. So every time they would find something, they would bring it back, to to someone that would keep it in a safe space. And as they were digging and making excavations, they were very cautious that there might be something under there, so they were very careful. And I thought that was very interesting. Um, yeah. Okay, let me go back. And so these are all, as I mentioned, these are all my entries. And I think that would conclude my presentation. Thank you.